I'm ready.
Nosferatu is out on digital, released on January 21st. I just came from watching it. Wanted to review it. For those of you who don't know, Nosferatu is an American gothic horror film. It is a remake of a 1922 film, Nosferatu, a Symphony of Horror, and it's obviously the retelling of Dracula. It's from the novel from 1897, Dracula. Bill Skarsgård plays Nosferatu, the big bad vampire. First off, can I just mention this movie is absolutely gorgeous. You know me, I'm a rock DJ, I'm a metalhead, so gothic stuff has a huge appeal to me. Look at some of these shots. They are absolutely gorgeous. Look at them. Typically, I don't care about cinematography. I don't care about just visuals. I don't care. I never get impressed by such things, but this movie is gorgeous. These shots are just beautiful. They appeal to me on such a deep level, and sometimes even the film goes full black and white, and it looks like one of those old horror movies. So I really liked that. As a person who doesn't care about visuals or cinematography or whatever, this movie was absolutely great. I felt like Nosferatu is trying to give you a gothic experience in an era where movies are just content for you to watch for 2 hours and then get bored. This was an experience. The main character, I'm surprised that he would be given a job to go and sell a house to some dude who lives God knows where. Even I remember in the movie there's a part where his boss shows him where like the Count Nosferatu lives, and he like points to like the edge of the map. And I was like, bro, why would you be given a job to go to the corner of nowhere and accept? But I understood he's a newlywed, so he needs the money. Nosferatu, vampire guy, has the most annoying accent when he speaks in English. Just the way he speaks was not for me. I wish he would have just spoken the ancient vampire language he was doing. Bill Skarsgård was pretty good. I think the lady who played the wife of the main character, that was a lady who like acted. Her acting was a bit over the top in some places, but damn, she was good. A couple of things that I really disliked in this film was there are scenes where characters just stand around and talk. This slows down the pacing of the film. Some parts should have been like cut out because they're telling you stuff that you kind of already are aware of. And can I just mention the sound effects of Nosferatu feeding on someone's blood? Woo! I was watching this with earphones on, so that one was quite visceral. This film actually terrified me, and this is coming from a guy who actually enjoys watching horror films. I was surprised to see that Willem Dafoe is in this. Very surprised to see that. When he appears, the next part of the film becomes sort of like The Exorcist. The section of the film just becomes just like The Exorcist. Dialogue was not annoying. I'm saying not annoying because whenever they do these films that are set in like 1800s, they always talk with like, thoueth cometh with the thoughteth of my lovely wifeth. Everything must have this like old way of saying stuff, but it wasn't as bad as I expected. So if you haven't watched this, you should know that the dialogue is actually bearable, especially if you don't like this film set in the past. The pacing suffers in certain places, and actually that's actually what I want to discuss. So the second act, I would say the second act is somewhere after the main character comes back from the castle to all the way up to where the wife of the main character teams up with Willem Dafoe to take down Nosferatu. That section, to me, I have a problem with it. Now, I have seen some people saying this film is a masterpiece, and I've seen some people saying that this film is highly overrated and boring. And I think I know why. The issue is that there's a section of the film where characters are telling you stuff you already know. And I get it. The characters are trying to figure out who Nosferatu is, how he operates, how to destroy him. But we as the viewer, we already know him. We already know who Nosferatu is and what he's like. There's this one scene where Nosferatu has like this dude who is the boss to the main character who sent him to go and talk to Nosferatu. And he's this crazy guy. If you watch the film, you know who I'm referring to. This crazy guy who is like Nosferatu's lapdog, right? So there's a part where Willem Dafoe says, that man has escaped from this and this place. He must be found, even though we know that he's not Nosferatu. He says something like that. Now, me, I was watching and I was like, me as the audience, I already know that. But this is the characters just trying to figure out who Nosferatu is and what he is about. I think what I would have wanted, I remember watching that scene and just thinking to myself, I know you can't rewrite the story because it's basically Dracula, but I wish what they could have done maybe is like made Nosferatu like this shape-shifting vampire that's kind of like Jack the Ripper. If you know Jack the Ripper, if you know Jack the Ripper, you kind of have an idea what I'm trying to say. He's like this shape-shifting vampire that's like Jack the Ripper, and then he sort of appears to his victims like in different forms. He can appear to you like a woman, a child, and then he attacks you. And then instead of just having the characters tell the audience stuff that the audience already knows, there's a good section of the film which is just characters trying to figure out stuff, and it goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth as they're trying to figure out everything. Like, for example, they're trying to figure out what's wrong with the main character's wife, but you already know what, us as the audience, we know, but the characters don't know. So I find like this really drags down the film in terms of pacing. I wish what they could have done is they could have made Nosferatu this like shape-shifting vampire, and then the mystery can be like Nosferatu shapeshifts forms, and he takes different forms. So now the main characters are trying to figure out his like real form and his like base form, and then the movie becomes like this whodunit. And in the end, you come to realize, oh, Nosferatu was always this character who was like right under our noses. And then at the end of the film, they like reveal his true form. I wish they would have done something like that. It would have made the film more engaging, other than watching characters trying to figure out a mystery that the audience already knows. That was my only real problem with this film, that specific part. Other than that, I noticed the film had a lot of religious references, like the mentioning of 3 days. There's a part where Willem Dafoe's character talks about crucifying. There's also a mention where the main character sees some guys doing a ritual, and there's a mention of virgins. There's also a mentioning of a rooster crowing. So I think that's probably some sort of like Christ symbolism, and like Nosferatu is like the opposite, sort of like the way Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Nosferatu is like death incarnate or something like that. Anyway, out of 10, I think I'd give Nosferatu an 8 out of 10. I think I like this film because it's just my style of gothic horror. I can understand if someone says the film is boring. I can totally understand. When I was watching the film, like the first 20-30 minutes, I was like, this is a film that I like, mainly because it's my taste. Not that I expect everyone to appreciate it. I think if I showed this to like my cousins or my mom or something, they would get probably very bored. But I personally give it an 8 out of 10. I don't think it's this masterpiece, but I think it's pretty good. That's just my review of Nosferatu. Tell me what you thought of this movie if you've watched it. On the screen, I'll leave other reviews I've done for films of 2024 and 2025. I'll see you in the next one.